Just a moment. लग गया। हाँ। लाओ दो ये दो। Just a moment. Sorry. डिस्कनेक्ट वो अभी ज्वाइन करवा सर मदान सर ने बोला कि अभी करवा दो.
So firstly is
No ma'am, he just joined. He will listen. That's all.
okay.
हाँ नहीं मैम का ही होगा. हेलो ठीक है. This one, no?
Excuse me. Next किधर से करेंगे?
हम इससे कर सकते हैं. स्क्रॉल करना.
Good morning, all panelists on the dais and participants in the auditorium. Good morning to all. I am presenting my paper on the emerging concept of homestays in hilly states like Uttarakhand. तो जैसा हम देखते हैं कि हिली स्टेट्स में जो भी चैलेंजेस होते हैं फॉर द सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट में कि क्या क्या चैलेंजेस हिली स्टेट्स को फेस करने पड़ते हैं बिकॉज़ हमारी पूरी इकॉनमी एग्रीकल्चर बेस्ड नहीं हो सकती है ना. देयर आर सो मेनी चैलेंजेस, सो मेनी कंस्ट्रेंट in the development process in hilly states. So we need some alternative areas to fulfill the needs of our population and tourism को increase करने के लिए जो भी टूरिस्ट हमारे स्टेट में आएंगे उनकी नीड को फुलफिल करने के लिए हमें बहुत सारे ऑल्टरनेटिव सोर्सेज की ज़रूरत है. तो उस पाथ में होम स्टेज आर प्लेइंग अ वेरी important role in the employment generation and income generation of the state. जैसा कि अभी हमारे ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी का भी उत्तराखंड से बहुत ही ज़्यादा अटैचमेंट है. ही स्पेंड a lot of time of his life in Uttarakhand. So and he has a very उनको उत्तराखंड से बहुत ही ज़्यादा लगाव है. और अभी 8 और 9 दिसंबर में जो इन्वेस्टर समिट हुई उत्तराखंड में देहरादून में, उसमें भी उन्होंने उत्तराखंड को इंडिया का स्विट्ज़रलैंड बनाने का एक जो है कॉल किया कि हमें उत्तराखंड को आने वाले टाइम में इंडिया का स्विट्ज़रलैंड बनाना है. और साथ ही साथ उन्होंने एक एस्पेक्ट को बहुत ही ज़्यादा एम्फसाइज़ किया और वो था कि कैसे हम जो है उत्तराखंड को एक टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन हब बनाए और उन्होंने कॉल किया वहाँ से फॉर एवरी यूथ इन द कंट्री दैट come and your wedding should be in Uttarakhand as a destination wedding. So many places in Uttarakhand are very popular and very uh, uh, liked by the entire people of the country and globally also. Like Rishikesh is developing as a yoga hub and spiritual hub. Triyogi Narayan. Triyogi Narayan in Rudraprayag district, where the marriage of Shiva and Parvati was happened, is now liked by the youngsters as a wedding destination. So, मोदी जी ने पूरे अपने एफर्ट्स, अपनी हेल्प एंड कॉल जो दिया है वो कहा है at least in every family of the country, one marriage should be in Uttarakhand as a destination wedding. तो मेरी भी आप लोगों से यही कॉल है ना, कि जितने लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं और जो कनेक्टेड हैं किसी से भी, है ना, वो किसी भी ना किसी फॉर्म में, लाइक स्पिरिचुअल एक्टिविटीज़ के लिए, योगा के लिए, मैरिजेस के लिए, हेल्थ इज़ ऑल्सो अ वेरी गुड, मतलब इन द फील्ड ऑफ हेल्थ देयर इज गुड प्रोस्पेक्ट्स इन उत्तराखंड. आपके पतंजलि योग, एम्स इज ऑल्सो हेयर. तो इन सब की रिक्वायरमेंट को पूरा करने के लिए होटल इंडस्ट्री, आई डोंट थिंक सो कि होटल इंडस्ट्री इज perfect for fulfill the requirements of these type of tourism, because it is expensive, है ना. Establishing hotel is very costly also, है ना, and it impacts the environment badly. So the concept of homestay is a emerging concept, and my study is in the field of study. It is a very micro small study. So my presentation is in Uttarakhand. The majority of the area is covered by hilly forest, which leaves a meager amount of land for agriculture activities. Agriculturalists manage their cropping burden by working alternatively on one another's land, because there is a shortage of labor. Agriculture mechanism is still insufficient. Thus, livestock are used to aid the labor. There is an emerging concept related to the combination of agriculture and homestay enterprises, which is rapidly becoming the tourism attraction. The homestay enterprises is a house owned by the local resident who offers to share rooms and food with the tourists in exchange for expenses very modest in comparison to hotels and resorts. Homestays required very less investments, and the cost of running is very less in comparison with operating a hotel. Several people who own land in hill areas are opening homestays with agriculture farms also. Even farmers around the homestays are directly selling their produce to homestay enterprises. The traditional craft, agricultural methods, and cattle rearing are becoming attraction for the tourists who never experienced these practices and are amazed by these regular lifestyle of hill rural areas. Homestays offers multiple benefits to local community, such as financial stability, employment perspective, and provide market for local produce, which they were not able to get earlier through traditional economic activities, mainly agriculture. There is an upsurge of homestays in Uttarakhand because of the promotion of government. Within 2 years, around 4,256 homestays have been registered with the Tourism Department of Uttarakhand. The objective of the study is to assess various opportunities provided by homestay enterprises for the promotion of agriculture and allied activities in the study area. The research design has been adopted on the basis of cross-sectional analysis. Both qualitative as well as quantitative methods of data collection has been used to collect data from homestay entrepreneurs. Proportionate stratified random sampling method has been used for selection of the samples. The homestay enterprises which were registered with the Tourism Department of Uttarakhand has been selected as a study population, which was found to be around 194 at the time of the study in Tehri district of Uttarakhand. The sample size of 50 has been selected out of the total population size of 194 homestay enterprises. The collection of data, primary data collection method has been used. The schedule was prepared comprising both open and closed-ended questions for inquiry. And the data collected was recorded with the help of Excel, and further analysis of data was done using SPSS software. The findings of the studies are: it was found that sole dependence on agriculture does not generate enough income of the agriculturist because the rate of the return is low as compared to high cost of inputs, and gestation period of return on investments in agriculture is slower than the homestay enterprises. These reasons suggest alternative sources of income to agriculture, which is completely supported by the homestay enterprises. Homestays become another income generating opportunity. Due to marginal holding and rough hilly terrain and dependence on climate, on scope of various employment opportunities become low. The study area has advantage of tourism potential. Setting up the homestay enterprises bring various backward linkage employment opportunities such as entrepreneurship, suppliers of agricultural product, grocery, housekeeping, guide and transportation for homestay enterprises. The respondents agree that agricultural sector is characterized by diseconomies of scale due to large input cost and small returns of crops. Relatively, the homestay enterprises runs on economies of scale as the returns are faster as compared to agriculture. It was observed that the small land holdings and sloped land restricts the agricultural activities in hill region. The homestay enterprises emerges as an alternate option which is community did not have earlier. Now the local community can work on difficult slanted lands, set up homestays, provide camping facilities, conduct tours, etc. Homestay entrepreneurs agree that though agricultural dependence is a very is a vital reason for the problem of migration, but there are other factors such as health, education and infrastructure. So it can be argued that due to other reasons there is exodus of communities to plain areas, and ultimately agriculture is depleting. Homestay enterprises creates economic prospects which gives hope for local hill community to stay, which checks migration and give encouragement to the agriculture sector to flourish. The study depicts that women in rural area of Uttarakhand are comparatively more occupied in agricultural activities as against men. Even women who are completing the daily household works while running the homestays enterprises were inclined more towards the benefit of working in their own houses as compared to working in any other non form activity which takes them away from their home. These are the findings, and the findings shows that the homestays in all sense make a better and alternative, good alternative option for the income and employment generation for the state. Thank you. Now get ready, delegates. We are starting from presentations. Number one is Dr. R. Gopal Sundar and Dr. N. Chitra. The title of the paper is An Economic Analysis of Banana Cultivation in Malur Block. Present. Dr. N. Chitra and Dr. R. Gopal Sundar. POC is present. Okay. Professor A. M. Jose and Dr. Vani Agarwal. Professor A. M. Jose.
I have given here, but he is not seen. Just I gave it in the desktop. It is there just to see it. How to open the desktop? Desktop. It was there in the desktop. I gave it on the desktop. Juice.
एक सेकंड सर, उसी में होगा, उसी फोल्डर में होगा। सेशन 5 ना, नाम क्या
And the
है?
time
Juice.
allotted is 5 to 8 minutes.
सर इसमें नहीं है।
So first
I-
bell will
I
be
gave-
at
Do you have a pen drive?
5
Yes.
minutes. And the second bell we will stop. 5 plus 3, 8 minutes. for
Pen drive.
presentation, right?
It was on the desktop. It is there. I gave
Please
it.
manage
Okay.
whichever has the bell.
What's your name?
Juice. Good morning, all distinguished professors and delegates of this conference. I am very happy to be in front of you. I thank you for the organizers to give me a chance for presenting. So I am from Amity University, Gurugram. Myself and Dr. Vani Agarwal, we both prepared this particular topic. How much time is given for me? Okay. So basically, my presentation outline is like this. We are just giving a brief introduction of the background to the study, why we conducted this study. As you know, the SDG, gender equality, all of you are aware, is a very important thing. And one among the core strategy for women's development is it involves decent work and economic decision making. It is not just any kind of, you know, just some kind of freebies. No, we wanted to empower them economically. Basically, as all of you know, the crafts, Indian craft, since during the 2000 years before also India was so strong, especially because of its local industries, household industries, cottage industries, mainly handicraft and handloom sector. But recent studies shown that there is a decline, almost 20% decline in the occupation, the number of workers in that area. So basically, uh, we are looking into our study, basically looking into the Surajkot Craft Fair, which was started in 1987, almost 36 years, 36th edition we looked into, because the government is promoting, very many such activities. But when we looked into the literature, we did not find, sufficient answer whether really such melas are benefiting these people or not, or just it ends up as a mela only. So that is why just we wanted to study that. And I'm not going to the details. Some of the importance of this handicraft sector in India, almost 200 million artisans in the handicraft industry. And actually, when you look into the growth potential, you can see around 25.7% increase in the handicraft export, almost 4.35 billions of USD, we are getting out of that. So almost all states are involved. Please, it is a rural activity, economic activity mainly, and also almost 72% of the, those who are engaged are women. So this is a very important thing. So I am just giving some statistics related to the growth of this particular export. It has been increasing since 1986, and the latest available figure shows about 25,270 crores rupees. This is just to show the women's importance in the handicraft sector. As you can see, in the rural, almost 74.5% in rural women are involved. You can see the numbers also given. So basically, this is one of the important occupations of the rural women in the country. Now we looked into the literature review. There are different theories addressing these issues of women empowerment. Uh,
Can you go straight to
okay,
recommendations?
okay.
Okay,
All right. So
recommendations.
why we studied the problem statement, the
Because
objectives.
we are 1 hour late.
Okay. The objectives, it's all which I explained a little bit. Methodology, basically we did a purposive sampling. We, selected about 48 craft women in this mela. We collected, of course, in-depth interviews were conducted, structure schedule were used, and we used, of course, the content analysis, thematic analysis, etc. So coming to the profile of the craft woman, you can see the age distribution. There are, it is over a spectrum of, about 20 to 70 years. Levels of education also of different background. Category also belongs to different background, and income also from different background. I just listed all those things. So when we go to the findings of the study, of course, I have to underline that basically it is a qualitative research mostly. Just we are getting through the in-depth interviews and opinions, and of course, we used the Likert scale to rank their this thing. We find that if I go to summarize, because of the time constraint, approximately around 90% of the women are favoring almost all indicators which we used. Less than 10% in most cases. The questions we ask regarding market access, the questions we ask is socioeconomic benefit to the women. We have asked questions regarding their empowerment. All these questions generally, this is the conclusion. I am not going to the each questions and answers. So, what are the opportunities for them to such fairs? The opportunity is categorized into the market access, economic benefit, and social benefit. I have listed all these points. I'm not going to the details, but all are self-explanatory because of lack of time. We have looked into the major challenges. You can see the challenges limited. There are so many things as far as the women are facing, like the access to raw material, the delayed, transportation facilities and other things. There are so many issues. When we look into this, is the most, the emerging points from this study, because we have done serious analysis with respect to all dimensions. These are the points which that emerges. Of course, most of the things are not to all, but with the field data, we are supporting our presentation, which is field observation, field evidence. We find that there are so many issues, and if you yeah. So this is basically our major important findings. Of course, conclusions also accordingly based on our findings. And thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Next, I'm calling Dr. Jyoti Gar, Komal Bata.
Varg is there? Okay, come.
Jyoti Gar. Hurry up, please. She is there. Oh, okay, next. M. Anandan and Nitish Kumar and S.N. Gurusaran.
I request the participants to please stick to the time limit. Since we are running short of time, I request the participants that there will be first bill after 5 minutes,
You have a
and
PPT
second bill
here
will
or
be after 7 minutes, and we'll be taking the questions at
which
the end of the
name?
session.
SEC presentation 8.
Which one is yours? Is it
Is it
here?
Anandam?
No, sir, it will be
Excuse me,
heading
please.
presentation 8, sir. I have recently made it, sir, before 10 minutes.
You mailed?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you Anandam?
No, sir, Nitish Kumar.
There are three of you.
Another two are present.
Yeah, ma'am. My friend is present with me, ma'am. Guru Saran.
The two are present here.
Yes, ma'am.
Which one?
First one, sir.
First one.
Yes.
You just hit the screen.
And I also request everyone to please focus on your objectives, methodology, and the
Yes, and
most
format.
important things are the implications.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am very happy to be participated in this 106 annual conference. With this regarding to the first topic, India's energy innovation, our topic is related to energy dynamics and economics growth, India's perspective for the sustainable growth and to be a developed nation. With this regard, we have seen that India is currently using 40% of the energy from the fossil fuels and the non-biofuel alliances which are made from the CO2 emissions, which are emitting more CO2, which is greatly concern for the environmental causes. Presently, we can see that the electricity consumption from hydroelectricity stands up to 3.2% of the electricity, but it is not up to the mark. As India is having the most populous country, we must focus on renewable energy to become the national developed country as well as the sustainable reach goal. With this respect, we can see that India is presently using commercial as well as non-commercial energy, whereas commercial comes from coal, petroleum, electricity, whereas non-commercial includes forest, firewoods recently. Next, we can see that energy and economic growth, because when we come to the economic growth, we can see that energy and economic growth goes hand in hand with the correlation of strong correlation. We can see that there is a strong correlation between energy and GDP growth, which is significant for any country. With this regard, we can see that what is the causes and benefits of this energy and economic growth. We can see that energy access and development, energy mix diversion, infrastructure development, energy efficiency, job creation, economic growth, and etc. Energy demand in India, we can see that annually India is depending on 3.5% increase from year to year energy dependency from 1010 kilowatts to 3200 kilowatts. Next, we come to the supply point, we can see that India is mostly dependent on fossil fuels and coal, petroleum, etc. for their energy needs. To become the self-sufficient country, India must be focused on self-reliancy in renewable energy consumption. With this regard, our government Modi ji has brought non-biofuel alliance with an ethanol blending, and also we can say that in Gujarat we have the biggest solar plant which is implemented from the Adani side and which is contributing around for 25 megahertz of energy in India's annual production. Next, we can see that the annual consumption of India's economy from 1953 to the latest 2017 to 18, we can see that the household has increased from double the times, that is from 10 to 24, and industry we can see that on an average it is remaining the same, that is 42. Next, we can see that transport has increased from 44% to 1%. Next, we can see that agriculture, whereas it is in 1953 mostly based on traditional economy, but now it is based on the commercial needs, that is we are using mostly of the electricity for electric pumps. Next, we are using tractors, etc. for in agriculture sector. So the energy needs in agriculture sector also has increased from 1 to 18, and also vice versa. We can see that in household sector early 1953 to 1954, we can see that most of the households do not have any electric compartments or electricity availability, but increasing the cover area of the electricity supply, we can see that it has increased from 10 to 24. Next, we can see that what is the potential of India towards the renewable energy sector. We can see that India is having around bioenergy at 17,000 megawatts and biomass energy from 25,000 megawatts and hydropower for 15,000 megawatts. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy of 2017-18 report says that India is currently significant to produce with 302.251 gigawatts energy from wind power. Next, we have small hydropower at 19.749. Next, we have biofuels at 17.536. Next, we have waste to energy from 2.54 gigawatts. With this, next we can see the solar, which is the major dominant in renewable energy sector with 74.990 gigawatts. Next, to do this conclusion, I come to the point that India must focus on renewable energy, that is most based on non-CO2 producing sectors like solar energy, wind energy, etc. for to the growth. Next, we can see that 60% of the CO2 emissions from 2030s will stem from non-existent infrastructure and machinery presentation. So, for a country, industry is very much important. At the same time, environmental costs is also very important. So, for to be a developed and sustained nation, India must be very focused on energy, that is most focused on the renewable energy. Thank you for giving me this great opportunity.
Manisha Yadav is here. Please raise the hand. Manisha, straight away you can go to aspiration. Huh? Aspiration. With regard to your topic, environment,
Sure.
your suggestions.
Only suggestions?
You can give objective suggestions.
I don't know about the topic.
Or you comments.
You didn't.
You comments.
I don't. Someone is helping. You can help.
He'll help you out.
Okay. What?
Is this your PPT?
You are all in there? Please come.
Did you mailed or you just?
be with
I use in pen drive.
It's in pen drive.
Mic set कर देना.
Yeah,
Sit here on the front row.
You wait.
Sit on the front row only.
I'm already getting.
Your
Okay, sir. मैं already वैसे nervous हूँ.
Preeti Chandra is here. Raise the hand. Preeti Chandra.
आइए
Next, Madan.
आइए करके होगा 2023 this one. मुझे याद है. Yes.
Madan. Sarika Sharma.
I'm audible.
Rashmi Chaudhary. Raise the
Mic is
hand.
working. I think not working.
Satish,
I'm audible.
okay, Lakhera?
A very warm good morning to all. I'm Manju Yadav from Central University of Haryana. The title is Analyzing the Effectiveness of Environmental Regulation, Energy Carbon Intensity, Energy Efficiency, Agriculture Carbon Intensity in Environment Sustainability. Let's skip the introduction. These are the objectives of our study to estimate the impact assessment of environmental regulations, economic growth, technical innovation, renewable energy consumption, energy production, efficiency, FDI, and trade openness on agriculture, carbon intensity of BRICS nations. The second and last one is to estimate the impact assessment of environmental regulations, economic growth, technological innovation, renewable energy consumption, energy production efficiency, foreign direct investment, and trade openness on energy carbon intensity of BRICS nations. These are the review of literature of our study. This is the research methodology portion of our study. This study has been focused on the group of the most emerging and developing nations group as study area and consider time span of 2021 years from 2000 to 2022. The BRICS stands Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa. The selection of the study period is measured purely on the availability of the relevant data needed to be carried out our analysis. This is the description of the study variables, and these are the variables and the proxy variables. The dataset has been extracted from the various sources like Climate Watch, World Development Indicators, and OECD. This is the modeling framework of the study, the model first and second. This is the estimation technology of the study. The first, this study procedure has the 6 main steps. The first, the examine the common stock effect via the Pasaran 2004 cross-sectional dependency. Second test to check the slope homogeneity in the panel dataset by using the Pasaran and Yamgata 2008 for the heterogeneity test. The third, investigation of the stationarity properties of the specified variables via the Pasaran unit root test of CIPS and CADF. The fourth, the testing of the equilibrium relationship among the variables by the Westerland 2007 panel cointegration test. Final and the last one is to examination of the short and long run relationship through the cross-sectional DSUR model. These are the estimation results. I am skip. These are the results of the model first and second, and these are the major findings of our study. The results reported that if the economic growth increase, the agriculture carbon intensity and energy carbon intensity in the study. The results indicate that the environmental policy stagnancy, renewable energy consumption, improvement in the research and development expenditure, green technology, and energy production efficiency are effective to control agriculture carbon intensity of BRICS. nations. Although the result of FDI is positively contributed in selected nation, agriculture, carbon and agriculture, energy carbon intensity. The positive correlation between inbound FDI and carbon emissions supports the pollution haven hypothesis in BRICS. The last one is the result also reveals that the trade openness is another effective variable to improve the environmental efficiency of the agriculture sector, because the trade every country can provide their crop according to their soil quality and fertility, and other essential food items can be imported from another country. Therefore, it may need less amount of fertilizers in this type of processing. The policy implications of our study to examine the findings of the DSUR indicates that the environmental related techniques in selected countries help to reduce environmental degradation in long run. Heavily investment in environmental friendly technologies can make the production process effective and clean. The examined finding of DSUR stimulates indicates that renewable energy in selected countries help to reduce agriculture carbon intensity. There is need to promote the renewable energy production and consumption in BRICS nation. The last one is, on the basis of key findings of our analysis, there is need to appropriate policy for upgradation of energy production efficiency to reduce the exploitation of resources and maintain the sustainability of environment in specific countries. It can be considered as reliable factor to control agricultural and energy related environmental degradation in the BRICS. Further, finding also indicates that improvement in the technology like PET had reduced the agriculture carbon intensity in long run. There is need to focus on advancement of technology for efficiency and optimum use of resources. That's all. Thank you so much for having me, everyone. Thank you. How can I bring the
Role of infrastructure in economic growth.
Yes. Just open my- Good morning, everyone.
Just
So
Which one is
I
yours? which one is yours?
Mahua. Yeah,
Here.
this one. I put SNA,
Hi.
second one.
Yes.
So good morning, everyone. I must thank organizers to give me this opportunity to present my paper. I'll just straight go to the main theme of this paper. This is role of infrastructure in regional economic growth in India. This is with one of my co-author, which is Pooja. She is from Daulatram. So directly I'll go. Introduction: infrastructure is the basic system that undergirds all productive economic activities, and these acts as catalyst for crowding in investments from domestic and foreign investors. The positive spillover effect of physical infrastructure comes through increase in investment, employment, and increase in income. Social infrastructure plays a role in building human capital, which further augments the process of R&D, and it also increases the ability of people to absorb rapidly the changing technology, thereby improving the overall productivity. The well-organized financial infrastructure provides sufficient allocation of financial resources. A well-established, sufficient, and physical, human, and financial infrastructure are preconditions for economic growth and also for its weakening. On the other hand, lopsided distribution of infrastructure brings in disparities in social and economic development across regions. In this context, it has been an area of interest for the policymakers to study the economic and income disparity across Indian states, which resulted from unequal endowments of physical, social, and financial infrastructure. India has announced an outlay of approximately 3.35 of GDP, percent of GDP of infrastructure in the budget. The study attempts to evaluate the extent of the impact of the three components of infrastructure, namely social, physical, and financial, on the per capita income of the state. Review of literature. I am not going into these details. Directly, I'll go to the objectives. My motivation is development of infrastructure is a long-term process. I already mentioned. The study tests the hypothesis of whether infrastructure, physical, social, and financial plays a significant role in explaining income disparity at the regional level, covering a long period of time from 2004 to 2019 as an effort to probe whether income disparity at the regional level can be vindicated in terms of bequests in economic, social, and financial infrastructure in major states. Objectives. The main purpose of this study is to examine the linkages between infrastructure, that is physical, financial, and social, urbanization, agricultural growth, and economic growth, to examine the status of infrastructure across selected states belonging to different income categories and compare with 2008 and 19. I have selected the states which are quite representative of around 90% of output and 80% of population, to identify the role of different types of infrastructure on the income of selected states for the year. Due to size differences, variables which have taken have been normalized by population size, geographical area, and state GDP to avoid the multicollinearity. Through PCA analysis, variables were found to be correlated among themselves and that thus can be converted to an index using Max-Min method. Hypothesis. The study attempts to address two hypotheses. Exists a significant correlation between income of the states and the infrastructure, as mentioned, and the physical and financial infrastructure plays a significant positive role in income of the states. Data definition. Index has been constructed for physical infrastructure. I've taken the variables like road density, rail, telecom, power, air passenger, and commodity-wise traffic handled at major ports. All are normalized. I've already mentioned. For creating financial infrastructure, I have taken the indicators like outstanding credit of scheduled commercial banks, deposits of scheduled commercial banks, and number of bank branches. And for the social, for creating human capital index, I have taken the indicators like infant mortality for the health sector, and gross inventory ratio across the age group 6 to 11 years and 11 to 17 years for secondary school attendance. This is the per capita income of the states. I'll just go quickly to the analysis part. Categorization I have done on the basis of income, which are upper income, upper middle income, over middle income, and low income. Per capita income of the states. I'll just quickly go to the findings. The lower income states contain similar levels, while the upper income, upper middle income states significantly improved in the per capita income. The lower middle income countries exhibited moderate improvement in 2019. I'm sorry, it was a typical mistake, not its states, not countries. In 2019 in comparison to 2008. Results of the ranking for the indices. I have ranked the infrastructure indices across states over time, and composite index was also made across the states, which are the combination of these three indicators. Findings. There is an improvement in the ranking of total infrastructure in the case of lower middle income states and low income states. There is a deterioration in the ranking of total infrastructure in case of upper middle income and middle income states. In case of physical infrastructure, upper middle and low income states improved their ranking, while upper income and lower middle income states experienced a deterioration. In the case of social infrastructure, upper income and middle income states deteriorated with respect to social infrastructure. So I'll directly go to the regression results. The results which I did reveal that urbanization and value addition by the agriculture sector contributes significantly to per capita income for the year 2019. And also when I carried out the time series analysis, I found physical and infrastructure, physical and financial infrastructure to be the major factor responsible for income disparity. The overall significance of the regression significantly is reflected by 75% of its coefficient determination. The data can be extended and evaluated from 1990 onwards to visualize the impact of liberalization policy. A time series analysis could be performed by conducting a causality test by adapting Granger causality. Policy variables could be integrated to visualize the effect of infrastructure policy on the income of the states. The impact of infrastructure inequality could also be visualized. The results reveal that role of financial infrastructure along with urbanization and agriculture income is a crucial and significant determinant of per capita income. There is an improvement in the ranking of total infrastructure in the case of lower middle income. In the details are in the paper. In the case of social infrastructure, upper income and upper middle income states deteriorated with respect to social infrastructure. The results reveal that the role of financial capital is more significant as compared to physical and social. The overall significance and policy recommendations, the fact that there is an improvement in the ranking of total infrastructure in the case of lower middle income states and low income states, the states must continue to invest in infrastructure. Efforts must be made to improve the income of the low middle income and low income states. Appropriate policies must be formulated to enhance and improve financial infrastructure, not only because there is a significant influence of financial infrastructure on income, but because there exists a weak correlation between income and financial infrastructure. The focus of policies should be on investment and financial infrastructure as it has significant impact on per capita income. I'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you for the presence.
We'll call you.
मेल है
Okay, namaste. This paper is a joint paper. I, Dr. Kishore Singh Rajput, and my research scholar, Dr. David F. Harmanian, worked on this paper, on this topic, entrepreneurial intention model in a predominant matrilineal Meghalaya for a robust entrepreneurship development program. Now, we talk about entrepreneurship development program, and when we search the literature, then the basic starting point is the intention that leads to behavior. So we thought that we need to study the entrepreneurship intention, and we chose Meghalaya because Meghalaya is a unique setting in India. Many of you know. It's not only a tribal society, scheduled tribe, what we call in Indian Constitution, but it's a matrilineal society too. So a tribal society with a matrilineal setup, and not a single study done in that kind of unique setup. Investigate the entrepreneurship intention. There are many models, of course, in entrepreneurship intention, but Arjan's theory of planned behavior, that is the most well accepted intention model that management research scholars, they take up to study the intention part. And we decided to take the theory of planned behavior. And in theory of planned behavior, there are three constructs through which Aryan, he tried to see the effect on entrepreneurship intention. One is personal attitude towards behavior. How does the person perceives himself as an entrepreneur? Then subjective norms, how the society perceives the person as an entrepreneur. A third one, perceived behavior control, the impediments, the obstacles, the hurdles that society, the institution, the system that put. So these three constructs, they affect the intention, and then that lead to behavior, actual behavior of becoming an entrepreneur. As far as objective is concerned, I have said that is the intention. That was our intention to study the entrepreneurship intention among the students, the UG and PG students of the colleges of Meghalaya. And hypothesis was to see whether what Aryan said is true for that kind of unique setup, a tribal society with matrilineal setup. And those who know Northeast, there are three major communities in Meghalaya. Before independence or before this state was formed in 1972, there were three hills: Khasi Hills, Jaintia Hills, and Garo Hills. So there are three communities: Khasis, Jaintias, and Garos. And there are three main urban centers. You can call them cities: Shillong, Joai, and Tura. So Khasi Hills, Shillong, Jaintia Hills, Joai, and then Garo Hills is Tura. So we decided to take up the colleges and the university campuses that we have, Northeastern Hill University, and students studying the management economic courses, because we thought these are the students, commerce, who are more likely to take up entrepreneurship as a career than the humanities and social science students. There is a limitation, of course, we have mentioned about that in the later part. So this is the data of the sample. 929 students were surveyed. Of course, we distributed the questionnaire among many more, but some were not returned, some were half done, so we took only 929. Now, before going to the deeper statistical analysis, of course, we check the reliability of the data by using Cronbach's alpha, and it showed okay, a good result. And then also validity of the model by using the structural equation modeling. So both the models, or you can say instruments, gave us the permission to go ahead. And this is the, as I said, this is the model, our model, in unique setup of Meghalaya, where the tribal society with matrilineal setup. And when the data were analyzed, path analysis was used, you could see, of course, PA means personal attitude, SN means subjective norms, and PBC means perceived behavior control. And in Meghalaya, it was found that what Aryan said, theory of planned behavior, the first two hold significant, they are valid in that society, matrilineal society, personal attitude and subjective norms, but perceived behavior control was not found to have any significant effect on the intention, entrepreneurship intention. So our refined model for Meghalaya, for that society, stands like this. And as I said, limitation is there. First of all, the samples population, because not all commerce, economics, management students take up entrepreneurship. So it would have been better to, in the first stage, find out the students who actually want to take up entrepreneurship as a career option in the later part of their life. We couldn't do that, so that is a major limitation. And again, say three major urban centers, entrepreneurs come from the rural background also, so they were left out from the study. But still, given that not much study was done in Northeast and not a single study in this line in Meghalaya, it is worth taking, and this is how we did the study, and this is what we arrived at in the end part of our study. Thank you.
Simla.
She's not present, but she is registered. A very good morning to everyone present here. So I'm going to be presenting my paper on pattern and determinants of crop diversification, empirical evidence from farm household in Kaithal district of Haryana. So this is a part of my PhD thesis being conducted at Department of Economics, Banasthali Vidyapeeth in Rajasthan. So before moving on to my topic, I would like to throw some light on why agriculture is important for the theme. India is still an agrarian economy, and it is important that whenever we are discussing development of nation, we throw some light into the agriculture sector as well. So agriculture diversification, why is it important? Mainly for my region is because of the depleting groundwater level in Kaithal, and that is why this study is more and more important to study which factors are affecting diversification. So diversification is of many types, but I will be moving on to my objectives of the study. So my objective is to study what is the pattern, ongoing pattern, and how farmers are deciding which crop to diversify. So which factors are enabling farmers to determine diversification. The data was collected by a primary survey from 5 blocks of Kethel, and about 50 to 80 farmers were selected from each block, making a total sample of around 400 farmers. The questionnaire were divided into two parts, taking information of household characteristics and also the farm characteristics. The index which was used to measure diversification was the HH index and crop diversification index. So if the index takes the value from 0 to 1, 0 meaning that the household cultivate only one type of crop. The model which was used, it involved an instrument variable two-stage least square method because of presence of endogeneity in studies related to agriculture. So these were the variables. They were categorized into household variables, government incentive, different types of machinery and facilities available. I am skipping the demographic profile of the area and moving to the pattern of crop diversification. So the most preferred crop for diversification in Kethel area was vegetables, followed by oilseed, cotton, sugarcane. The most grown crop there is wheat and rice, and there were about 35 combinations of crops which the farmer grew. The first one being rice, wheat, and dairy. Second one was rice, wheat, followed by rice, wheat, dairy, and vegetables. So all of the sample collected were 85% of the farmers were growing in these combinations only. And if we look at the different income quartiles of farmers, we notice that as we move from lower income to higher income farmers, the diversification increases. Looking at the heat map, we see that there is not much variation, and rice and wheat is the staple crop, and there is more scope of diversification. The red portion is showing that less number of combination, and green portion shows that higher number of combinations. Looking at how crop diversification index is varying across social economic categories, we see that age is not very much correlated. However, education status is definitely, and by caste, general caste is having more diversification. By land size, it is higher in 4 to 10 acres of land. The results of regression show that SC farmers category are more likely to diversify as compared to general farmers, and land size is obviously a significant variable. Tractor usage is also significant. Government subsidies and loans are also significant. Education only till 10th standard is significant. So if somebody is educated above 10 standard, it does not make any effect on diversification. This can mean a lot for policy measures. More financial incentives can be given for promoting crop diversification. We can give fair access to machinery can be improved as it improves diversification. Also subsidies and initiative to promote non-staple crops with market linkages. Implementing policies which support poultry farming and programs for marginalized farmers like education, financial support can be provided. Thank you.
Swati Shakti is there. Preeti Chandra. Preeti Chandra.
Yes. No, no is there, but I'm.
Rashmi Chaudhary is there.
A very warm good morning to all of you. I'm audible. I'm going to present the Road to be Developed India Rosters model. I am Dr. Preeti Chandra, Assistant Professor, DSB Campus, Nainital. So first, just give an introductions of Rosters stage of the growth model. Growth model is based on the assumptions that all countries follows a similar path of development and that they can be achieved the ultimate stage of developed country by developing the western worlds of capitalism and democracy. Here an attempt has been made to analyze this Indian stage of economic growth through the perspective of Rosters model. See, in the first, according to the graph, picture, that's a traditional, there are the 5 stages of economic growth path. First is traditional society, second one is the preconditions for the take-off stage, third one is take-off stage, and fourth one drive to maturity, and last 5th stage is stage of the high mass consumptions. First, traditional stage is basically a very simple and most primitive terms, high proportions of the workforce in the agriculture, and no centralized on the political systems. Industry growth limited in here, and investment to be below 5%. If I talking about the India's stage on that time, so India was in the first stage of economy growth till the late 19th century. Now, the second stage is pre-condition for the takeoff stage, that was progressive element creeped into the society, economic progress take place. Investment rise between to 5 to 10%, and development of infrastructure will steadily growth. In that time, India was in that stage late 90s century till the early 1960s. Due to 5-year planning, agriculture productions will increasing, trade productivity increasing. That's why. Now we're talking about the take-off stage. That is a stage where dynamic economic growth, investment in around about the 10%, maybe in the it's all about the above 10%. Urbanization and industrialization will increase in this time, and technology breakthrough happen in India, and that the India situation here. India reached the takeoff stage in the third 1961 to 66 the financial year plan, late 1960 to 1990s, and come to the drive to maturity. It's an industrial sector dominate and promotive sector stage has diminishing on that time. Investment should be the 10 to 20%, and after 40-60 year we reach this stage, and the dependency of other economic is reduced in this stage. Standard of living has greatly improved in drive to maturity stage. Basically, where India lays at present situation, we can say in the 4th stage. Now come to the last stage, that was the stage of the high mass consumptions, where the people have a lots of time to luxurious as a per capita income, and the standard of living has improved. People tend to spend more luxurious items like TVs and refrigerators and other comforts commodities. Nations increase and improve greatly, and the investment in this stage is above the 20%. So India has a dream to reach that stage. Before I start the next points, but I just want to say objective of study. My objectives are to examine the overall scenario of India economy compare with OECD's countries and United Kingdoms. The second one to study the few social economic growth parameter we make our country to develop nation in next 25 years through the perspective of Rosters model of economic growth. What are the research questions? The how can we understand and explain India's economy in transformations terms?
I request you please move to the findings and implications.
Yes, sir. So basically, so many parameters are there, but I just I just want to a few points. Basically, the indicators are so many to cover the whole scenario, but I have divided the two parameters, one is social and economic parameters. This factor I have taken from the social and economic parameters, that was GDP, per capita income, GNI per capita income, female labor populations, participations, and urbanizations as a parameter of economic and economic basis, and social factor, HDI factor, expectations, IME, CMRs, and the undernutritions and poverty. If see, these are the comparison between the OECDs. There's a the recent reports on World Bank has Indian nominal GDP has reached an impressive $3.5 trillion, making it the fifth economic growth according to Rostov's theory. The robust growth theory sector and robust consumption. India's nominal GDP for the making for fiscal year 22-23 is projected to reach its 274.4 lakh crore, making a sustainable growth rates of 16.1% compared to our previous fiscal year. But reality check should be there. If the nations has to reach the Roster's 5 stage of growth, it needs to predict country officially as developed as the challenges depend on the sustainable economic growth in the various sector and economic indicators. Because if our economy grow at that same time, OECD's countries and other economy will be grow in that durations. So these are the comparisons between the India, OECDs and country. Yeah, okay, sir. Give me 5 minutes. Huh? Okay. It's only 1 minute only. So these are the needs to improvement of economic and social growth parameters. So these are the parameters we have to improve to work on that parameters. Now we concluded this topic. It can be summarized that India has sustained the current growth rate of economy in the current few years. It can become a third largest economy in the world. Technological innovation has AI can be keeping in the view of technological development does not hamper the employment generations in the country. As Prime Minister calls vocal for local can be achieved through a close cooperative between private, public, and civil society organizations. Thank you so much.
Okay, so again I request all the participants to please focus on the objectives, the research framework, and findings, and particularly the policy implications that you have from your paper.
Good morning to all. This is Dr. Ankit Nagar, Assistant Professor, Doon University, Dehradun. The topic of my research is factor influencing adoption of technical advice from agricultural extension services, lessons from field study in Western Uttar Pradesh, India. Let's come to the objective of my study is to examine the adoption of technical inputs received by farmers from agricultural extension services and to identify the factors that influence farmers' willingness to follow professional guidance from diverse extension sources. About research methodology, I have surveyed 360 households from Western Uttar Pradesh. Out of them, 270 farmers were who accessed the extension services. Since I want to know the factors influencing the adoption of extension services, therefore I used only 272 farmers who accessed the extension services for my study. This is the study model. I use logistic regression model since my dependent variable is qualitative in nature and binary in nature. If a farmer is adopting extension services, I gave the code 1, and if not, then 0. Result and discussion. You can see in the slide that as farm size increases, the adoption of extension services increasing. This table 2 shows that the rank-wise access to extension services and adoption of technical advice. And you can see that private extension services are at rank 1 in terms of access, but on rank 6 in terms of adoption of extension services. It shows that farmers have less trust on private extension services in comparison to the government extension services. This is the table 3 related to reasons for not adopting the technical advice offered by the most access source of extension services. And you can see that private extension services are less used source as adoption of technical advice due to the lack of trust. Table number 4 shows the summary statistic. Will not go deep into it since we have time constraint. These are the logistic regression results. Conclusion and recommendation of my research is, while non-government extension services such as private extension services, progressive farmers and ICT and print media are crucial for access, they are not necessary for technical advice adoption due to a lack of farmers' trust in them, as I told you earlier. While farmers favor government extension services for technical support, a lack of trust in the key reasons for the relatively low adoption rate. The findings of the binary logistic regression model for adoption of technical advice indicates that average hours spent on household size, farm size, training, and awareness of extension schemes have a positive significant impact on the adoption of technical advice. Professional education like diploma certificate courses and distance from highway have a negative significant impact on adoption of technical advice. The positive relationship between farm size and adoption of technical advice underlines that extension services should revisit their strategies for reaching out to more marginal and small farmers who account for over 85% of agricultural households. With the appropriate technology advisory services and direction, marginal and small farmers' productive activity capacity can still be significantly enhanced. In agricultural extension services, public-private partnership might be nurtured and pushed in the same way that they have proven tremendously beneficial in infrastructure projects. Thank you so much.
Rashmi Chaudhary, Satish, Bachchan Dixit, Devna Jinda, Dr. Lakera, Dr. Lakera, Vikas Kumar, Ankush Agarwal, Him Sen,